The rain came harder the next evening, sweeping against the windows like it had a message to deliver. Alara stood in her small apartment, staring at the unsigned contract on her coffee table. Damien's words from the gala echoed in her head, "Tomorrow changes everything." A knock came. Not hurried, not hesitant, just 3 deliberate raps against the wood. She opened the door to find him there, rain glistening on his hair, the collar of his black coat turned up against the wind. "You're soaked," she said, stepping back instinctively to let him in. "I don't mind," he replied, his voice a shade rougher than usual. He glanced at the contract lying on the table. "You haven't signed." "No," she said. "I wanted to talk first." His gaze softened, just slightly. "Good." The air between them shifted, denser somehow, charged like the sky outside. The soft hum of rain against glass filled the silence. Damien stepped closer, slowly, giving her time to stop him if she wanted. She didn't. "Alara," he murmured, his voice deep enough to vibrate against her bones. "Do you know what I've been thinking about since last night?" Her pulse kicked hard. "What?" "This," he said, his hand lifting to brush a stray lock of hair from her cheek. His fingers lingered, warm against her skin. "The way you look at me like you're not sure if you should run, or stay." The corner of her lips trembled. "And which do you want me to do?" He leaned in just enough for her to feel the whisper of his breath against her mouth. "Stay." The first touch of his lips was almost nothing, barely there, testing. Soft. Searching. Her breath caught, her fingers curling into the fabric of his coat without realizing it. The kiss deepened slowly, as if neither of them wanted to rush the moment. His hand slid to the back of her neck, his thumb stroking the sensitive skin just below her ear. Her knees weakened, and she swayed into him, feeling the solid warmth of his body against hers. When his tongue teased the seam of her lips, she parted them without hesitation, the taste of him, warm, rich, faintly like wine, spilling over her senses. The rain outside seemed to grow louder, drumming against the windows in wild applause. His other hand found her waist, pulling her closer until there was no space left to bridge. She felt his heartbeat, steady but strong, like it was matching her own. By the time they pulled apart, both were breathing harder than before, their foreheads resting together. "That," he said quietly, "is what I've been thinking about." Her chest rose and fell quickly, her voice barely more than a whisper. "Me too." Alara didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt it again, his hand warm at the back of her neck, the slow claiming of his mouth, the way the rain had seemed to pulse in time with her heartbeat. By morning, the city was gray and slick, clouds still heavy with the storm's tail. She pulled her robe tighter and made coffee, but the bitter heat did nothing to settle her. Her phone buzzed. A single message from Damien. "Don't sign anything until we talk. Tonight. My place. 8. The day passed in a blur of restless energy. She sketched without thinking, lines spilling onto paper in bold, chaotic strokes she couldn't explain. By the time evening came, her hands were trembling, not from fear, but from anticipation. She told herself she wanted answers. She didn't tell herself she wanted his hands on her again. Damien's penthouse was lit low when she arrived, the golden glow from the fireplace stretching across the sleek floors. Rain ticked against the massive windows, the city glittering beyond like a scattered crown of jewels. He was standing by the bar, a glass in his hand. His jacket was gone, sleeves rolled to his forearms, revealing strong lines of muscle beneath the fabric. "You came," he said, his voice lower than usual. "You asked," she replied, her eyes catching on the faint shadows under his, like he'd been carrying something heavy. He gestured toward the sofa. "Sit. There's something you need to know before you make any decision." She crossed the room but didn't sit. "Tell me." For a moment, he just looked at her, really looked, as if measuring whether to let her in. Then he said, "The people behind that contract, they don't care about your work. They care about owning you. Every sketch, every design. You'd be nothing but their name on a leash." Her stomach turned. Why didn't you say that sooner? I didn't want to scare you away before you saw the possibilities, he admitted. But after last night, his gaze dipped, briefly, to her mouth. I can't let them take you. Something in her chest tightened, not just from the warning, but from the way he said you, like she was more than just a talented stranger to him. The silence stretched, thick and electric. She took a slow step toward him. And if I stay? If I trust you instead? Damien set his glass down with deliberate care, as though he knew the moment after would be dangerous. I'd protect you, he said, his voice husky. From them. From anyone. Even from myself, if I had to. Her pulse roared in her ears. What if I don't want protection from you? That was all it took. He moved, fast but controlled, his hand catching her waist, pulling her flush against him. This kiss wasn't tentative like the first, it was hot, urgent, like he'd been holding it back all day and couldn't any longer. Her hand slid up into his hair, gripping, pulling him closer. His mouth claimed hers, deep and unrestrained, and when his tongue